What's up, everybody? Welcome to PCP Movie Night here on Pop Culture Philosophers. I'm your host for tonight's show, Rockin' Robbie Bills, and we are kicking off the PCP portion of Actionfest 2025 right now. And we're kicking it off with the double feature, The Raid and The Raid 2. This movie review, or I should say movie reviews, has been brought to you by Two Gun Pedro, because Two Gun Pedro sent me this last year and said The Raid Redemption is my pick for PCP Action Fest in 2025. So you know what? Two Gun, we're doing you one better. We're doing both movies. So hell yeah. So Action Fest 2025 has already started. For the first time ever, we have a second channel joining us for Action Fest. That's our boy Fable over at One Collection Down. They've already talked about I Come in Peace to kick off Action Fest on Tuesday, and now we're kicking it off here on the PCP side with The Raid Redemption and The Raid 2. Now, originally, The Raid is an Indonesian film directed by a Welsh filmmaker. How does that happen? Well, it's a complex story, but it is a story, and we'll probably get to that, right? But what was I saying? Anyway, The Raid Redemption, which is not the original Indonesian title. That's what I was saying. In America, they decided to call it The Raid Redemption, and then the sequel is called The Raid 2. But in some areas, some territories, it's called The Raid 2 Retaliation. Whatever. We're going to get into all the complexities, but let's bring out the panel. Starting us off, he's been missing for 2 weeks here on PCP Movie Night, but he's back. It's Gelani. What is up, my man?
What's up, Station Brothers? Hey, good to be back. God, work is killing me, man, on all fronts. So thanks for letting me, be here tonight for this awesome movie. Thank you, Two Gun. You have good choice of movies. You have great taste, sir. I appreciate it.
It really does, man. And it's nice that you're here. You've missed some good conversations, man. Stand By Me, Bad Times at the El Royale. Those are really great conversations that I know you hated to miss.
I know, and it's terrible because I haven't watched Stand By Me in years, and I really wanted to watch it again, and I will. Eventually, I will.
Well, I'll just let you know, slight spoilers. Everybody gave it a perfect score but me. I was the asshat who was like,
really?
I don't like Richard Dreyfuss in this movie.
Wow.
But happy to have you back. But we also got Brooks back, he was also missing last week. Brooks, welcome back, man.
Yeah, fortunately, I missed last week. Not for lack of trying. I tried. Almost had it, but it slipped out of my grasp. The streak is broken now. I have to start over.
Yep, you got to start the streak over, man. You're like Joe DiMaggio, just trying as hard as he can, man.
Yeah, I was like the Undertaker, man. I had my streak was going for a while.
Stand By Me was your Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hell yeah. We also got rounding out the panel right now, or for right now, I should say, because we have another panelist allegedly going to join us. But it's Link. It's my boy Steph. What's up, homie?
Yo. Happy to be here, guys. I'm right there with Gelani. Like this, I heard this was on the docket, and I'm always looking for a reason to glaze over this movie. I can't believe that it's been. I know it's been some years since the first one. But I couldn't believe it was over 10 years since the second one when I was rewatching.
Yeah.
Like, no way, man. But both wild movies. Great picks.
Yeah. Absolutely crazy, right? So, yeah, Two Gun Pedro, thank you so much for sending me this Blu-ray. As I said before, I'll say it again. You send me a Blu-ray, we'll eventually cover the movie. It might take a year. It might take 2 years because we kind of plot out PCP Movie Night pretty substantially. In fact, we're already planned out through like April of next year. So, if you want to sponsor PCP Movie Night, you can do so at a link in the description below. It's an Amazon wish list. Buy something from that, and you just might see it covered here on the channel on a PCP Movie Night or a Rockin' Robbie Live or something like that. But tonight we're focusing on The Raid and The Raid 2. So The Raid, or in the States, it's called The Raid Redemption. It's a 2011 Indonesian film that is written, edited, and directed by Gareth Evans, who is a Welsh filmmaker. And this is the first time I've watched this film. I've never seen any of the Raid films, but I've heard of them. I've heard of them because we've talked about Dread here on this channel before. I think all of us were present for that movie review, right? Dread is a great movie. And when we were covering that movie, or when that movie first released and I loved it, everybody goes, well, Dread's just a ripoff of the Raid. I'm like, what's the fucking Raid, right? So I hear about it. Then Warren Ellis and Declan Shalvey do a really great 6-issue run on Moon Knight a few years ago. And one of those issues, Moon Knight going up an apartment building to get to the final boss floor by floor. And everybody goes, that's just the Raid. Totally discounting, by the way, Declan Shalvey's amazing work on that title, plus Warren Ellis. So whatever. Here's the thing, though. Having watched the movie, it was very obvious to me that not only did the Raid inspire Dread, not only did it inspire that one issue of Warren Ellis and Declan Shalvey's Moon Knight, it has inspired action films post 2011. Like 100%. Daredevil, the TV show, is heavily influenced by the Raid, right? So, first of all, I guess my overall thoughts are this. I liked the movie, but I did feel slightly disappointed. I was expecting to see the greatest action film I'd ever seen. But here's the problem. When you hear about a movie for years and years and years and how good it is, right? And that movie has now had time to influence cinema in different ways so that you're kind of used to it now, almost in a way, right? So when I watched this movie, I was like, it's not hitting me the way it would have hit me in 2011 because I've seen this before. But I am a smart dude, and I can contextually realize that this wasn't being done at the time, right? And if I would have watched this movie in 2011 or when it first released, I would have been like, what the fuck? This is how you're supposed to do action movies. Luckily, some people got the memo. Other people's didn't. So let's go back and look at the state of action films in 2011. What are the top action films in 2011? I'm thinking we're in the era of Mission Impossible's resurgence again, Bourne Identity, or the Bourne, the Bourne. I was going to say the Bourne trilogy, but there's like 5 of those motherfuckers now, right?
You're doing like a lot of video game movies at the time.
Yeah, and this movie feels very video gamey. It really does. It feels like, bro, it's like a Ninja Turtles game that you can't beat in 1988 or something like that, right? It's like level by level, villain after villain,
respawning villains. Yeah,
right. So that's what's going on here. So even though I didn't feel the full impact of this movie because I'm already very familiar with the movies and television that it has influenced since, I can recognize that and understand that the Raid is top notch. It's one of the greatest action films ever as far as sequencing and framing action scenes. Like the choreography is great, right? Now we've seen The Matrix. We've seen a lot of kung fu movies, right? So we know that action movie choreography being at an exceptional level is not a rarity, but it is a rarity in American cinema in the modern era, especially in 2011. Hell, John Wick is influenced by these movies, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I love about The Raid is, number one, the style of the action, the martial arts. So there's an Indonesian martial art in particular. I don't know the name of it, but it in particular is what is being shown in this movie from our main character in particular. Dude, it's great. And the way that Gareth Evans frames his shots, there's like interesting movements of the camera to follow the action, but it keeps your eye going at every level. It doesn't do that quick cut shit that everybody was doing back then, and they still do it today. It wasn't obsessed with shit like shaky cam. Though it does have shaky cam, it doesn't use that it doesn't use the shaky cam to distract you from what's going on. This movie wants you to see what is happening. It pulls back that frame. It lets you see what's going on. And when dude goes from one villain to another villain, the camera just does this. Meanwhile, in modern American films, action films especially, you get like 20 cuts in the midst of all of that, right? Mm-hmm. So I love the action, the choreography, the way it's shot, the execution of it is so fucking amazing in this movie. As soon as I watched this movie, I was like, John Wick, Daredevil, Dread. It was all over the place, the influential nature of this film. Character-wise, I don't give a fuck about anybody in this movie. My favorite character is the fucking dude. They call him, what do they call him? Madman or Mad Boy or whatever his name is? Mad Dog. That's what it is.
Mad Dog.
That dude's fucking awesome. It's all fighting, right? And he's a choreographer as well. So there's that. But there's very little plot in this movie. In fact, I would say there is no plot. There is only a premise. The premise is a dude is part of a SWAT team that's raiding an apartment building. There's a drug lord who's at the top level. He locks the doors when they get in and informs everybody, kill all these people, and I'll give you some money or some shit like that, right? So now it's about this dude in the midst of all these other dudes having to really work their way up level by level in the raid, right? And yeah, it's very much like Dread. However, where I think one of the things that Dread excels at, that this one does not, is the part of the style that is visual. Now, I know that this is a supremely low-budget movie. However, it is so darkly and drably and unenthusiastically lit and colored that I feel like the movie could have done better at that. If you look at Dread, it shows the depravity. It shows the nasty, dirty nature of this world, but still being colorful. This movie is void of color, right? It is void of color. And as far as structure goes, it's good because it's like an hour and a half, maybe an hour and 35 to 40. It's tight. It gets in, it gets out. It's not wasting its time with plot. It's about the style of the action. That's what it's about. And it excels there. The music I thought was particularly lame. And then I found out that the music is done by Mike Shinoda, who we know from Linkin Park. And I was like, oh yeah, okay, that totally makes sense. It sounds like Linkin Park bits like that they didn't use were utilized for the score of this movie, right? So I don't think the music is particularly strong. It doesn't have much of a theme, but it is about rising above, standing beyond your means and shit like that. But all in all, I really like the Raid Redemption, or just the Raid, right? I think it's a really solid action film. I think it looks great as far as the action sequences and the framing of it. I think the cinematography could have been a little bit more, brighter is the wrong word, but a little bit more like artistic, right? But aside from that, I like the movie. It's thin. It's very thin on story, but that's not what it's trying to do. Overall, though, I really like this movie. And the thing that really stood out to me was, oh my God, watching this movie, I see where all these other action movies and action shows got their inspiration from post 2011. Anyway, what about you, Gelani? What do you think about the Raid overall?
Well, I mean, I understand what you're saying. It is drab. It is very boring at times, very slow running in places, but the action in it is so freaking gorgeous. It's some of the best choreographed fight scenes you will ever see until the Raid 2, which I will refer to often. This is just a gigantic prequel for the Raid 2. This is like a beginning. Raid 2 is like the meat and potatoes. It's all of it. It's so beautiful. But getting to that, you have to get through the pagoda. that is that horrible hotel room. I think that in this movie there are a lot of different scenes that tell you what's going on, and you're right about the premise part. I think there is kind of an underlying story of just the corruption of the whatever the government that they have right now is begun by a crooked commissioner and crooked everyone. Like this one crooked guy is in here and he's like setting everyone up since he was ambushed because he thought he could just go in there and take this guy's stuff from him and arrest him and make himself look good. And it turned out that, you know, he's still a part of that corrupt faction of people that run the city. So you get your main character, and I keep forgetting his name as well.
Rama.
It's like Rama.
Rama, yeah.
Rama. That homeboy. God dang it. He just, I like his character. He's my favorite character in this movie. Mad Dog is good. Mad Dog is one of those solid characters. That's a great villain. That's a great villain. He's in the second.
That's that dude you know that just wants to fight. You know, like Gelani, how many times we've been to the club and somebody that's in our crew is like, I just want to get in a fight tonight. We're like, yo, you can't join us anymore. You know what I'm saying? He's that dude, man.
You're out. No, thank you. But he's in the second movie too. But it's just, I think he's a fight coordinator as well. Yeah. So he is,
yeah.
Very good. Very, very good at what he's doing. And I love his fight scenes. But I love Rama's fight scenes throughout this movie. He just endures. He endures. I like the fight scene with the other guy that was in the SWAT team. I loved his fight with those guys. And I like it doesn't have that John Wick feel of one guy fighting multiple people and they're just fighting them one at a time when they just should dogpile him. Like, dogpile him. You know, he can't keep kicking you in the face. And they're like,
well, they try that in part 2, don't they?
Yeah. Yes, they do. Well, I mean, and it works. But it's one of those things where it has to happen. You can't just keep fighting. And he keeps fighting. So it's very impressive to me. I don't think about the music in this movie. Not this one. I don't think about it at all. There's no point. It's just the story and the fights. And the gore and the prettiness. My favorite death is the one where Rama like grabs the one guy and pulls him down into the broken door.
Bro, that's the shit, dude.
That's
like Mortal Kombat level fucking fatality. That shit is badass, dude. Oh my! Awesome. I'm watching it. I'm like, I don't understand how they fucking filmed that because that dude is literally dead right now.
Yeah,
like,
he's dead.
They just killed this dude on camera.
Yeah. It's so wild. And like it's shot to where you think it's happening. So I really like that part too. There's so many little beautiful things in this movie, but it is very dark. And Dredd does have this on it. Dredd, I think Dredd is better than this movie. I hate to say that.
I would agree.
I love Dredd. Mm-hmm. I love Dredd. No, bro, I love Dredd. I'm mad Dredd didn't get a sequel. But it's just the raid inspired it, but I think Dredd executes the shots better, like you were saying before. I kind of agree with that. It doesn't show the griminess of where they are. It doesn't feel like an Indonesian slum. It's just there, and it's just dark. And it would have been better if the first kid that gets killed with the bullet through his neck, which was a good shot. I know it's CG or whatever, but it's still the way it was shot. I was like, all right, I get it. But they should have given more story to that kid first somehow. I don't know why, but I think that kid would have been important, and then the death would have made more sense. So, you know, the kid lookouts. I mean, I don't know. It's one of those films that I still treat like this is a prequel. This is a prequel to what's gonna happen. Because I watched Raid 2 first, not knowing that I need to watch Raid 1. And so I saw 2.
And this was not your first watch of the Raid, right?
Oh, no. I watched this like 5 times. The thing is, I watched this one and Raid 2 together. Like, I watched it once with my cousin. we watched the first movie and then I immediately put on the second movie. He's like, what are you doing? It's like, we got to watch all of them at once. You cannot have one without the other. It's the whole story. It makes all the sense in the world once you see this first movie and why it happens and why his brother is so involved in this, because his brother is in the middle of all of this corruption. He's undercover trying to bring it down from the inside. And then you see it in Rave 2 and you wonder, who the fuck is that guy in the cornfield? That's the guy from the first movie. That's his brother. So it all ties it together. It all makes sense. I treat this like a prequel, because once I saw it backwards and then saw it forwards, I was like, I get it. You know, it's good fighting. The first movie is just, it's decent setup for what we're going to see. And that's what how I treat this movie. It's good, but it's not Dredd good. But it does explain. It explains everything. And it makes a hell of a lot of sense when you see them together. So that's how I treat it.
Hell yeah.
It's a good damn movie. You should always watch Raid and then watch Raid 2.
Always, right?
Always.
Brooks, I believe this is your first time watching it, right?
Yeah, like I'd heard of this movie, but I'd never seen it. And like I'm with you in that, you know, if I'd have seen this movie when it came out, I would have been like, this is the most awesome movie I've ever fucking seen. Like it's like one of those movies, like, you know, I could tell, like, you know, I liked it a lot, you know, I had a lot of fun with it, but like, you know, I feel like, you know, the fact that, you know, I have seen, like, you know, the progression of action movies, like, you know, so it didn't feel as unique, but it was still like, you know, I love how, like, it starts out amped up, you know, motherfuckers are dying left and right, and then it like it kind of like, you know, funnels down into just basically being him fighting his way out. And like the fight scenes are great. Like I love the violence. It's like, it's beautiful. I think they do a lot, like they're really good about, you know, and that early on, like letting you know, like, you know, a lot of these motherfuckers are gonna die. I love in the beginning, you know, when they're riding in the wagon and I guess the commander, the guy in charge, is like, I don't want to see any empty seats. I smiled when I heard that, because I'm like, yeah, it's gonna be a lot of empty seats, I'll bet.
That shit reminded me of some Dazed and Confused shit where he's like, men, 50 of you are leaving on a mission. 25 of you ain't coming back.
Yeah. There's like, what, 3 survivors, I guess. Or, yeah, 3, because they killed the other guy. Yeah, but, yeah, it was like a fun movie. I really did enjoy it. It is a bit bleak, I feel. Like, you know, it does have that kind of, I think it works for it in a way, but like, you know, it's kind of like how Dredd kind of did the balance, you know, with kind of the bleakness, but it's still a little colorful, a little bit of color. But,
yeah, a lot more color, and I think Dredd also has a little bit more humor in it.
Yeah, I think the characters are better in Dredd too. Like,
Yeah.
I think Dredd had better like story, but this movie, I think the action in this movie is better than Dredd. But like story wise and everything else, I think Dredd is a better movie. But still, like, you know, this is it's not boring, you know. It's like an hour and 40 something, but it feels like it goes along at a good clip, because, you know, it starts out so intense and then, like, you know, it cools down gradually, but, you know, not by cooling down, like, you know, it gets slow, just that, you know, there's slightly less violence, or the violence is more like, you know, up close and personal, not just like motherfuckers getting headshot every 5 seconds. So yeah, this was a fun movie. Like, but I'm glad I saw it, and like, I think I like this one better than the second one, to be honest. But they're both good.
All right, yeah, you know, when I watched the film, I already knew the comparisons to Dredd. I already knew the comparisons to the Warren Ellis issue of Moon Knight. But when I watched this movie, what really stood out to me was like, oh, Daredevil owes so much to this movie in particular, right? That hallway scene that they do in every Daredevil season, that's
like,
straight up the Raid.
The Raid.
Right? Drew Goddard has to be a huge fan of Gareth Evans' The Raid. 100%, man. Like,
do you guys remember in like season 1 of the Arrow, I think there was like a very similar fight scene as well, where he's like, you know, he's using the bow and arrow, but he's like smashing people's heads against the wall in like a rhythmic fashion and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, you do. You reminded me of how awesome the first couple seasons of Arrow actually were until it became,
Yeah.
till they realized, fuck, we're on the CW. We got to have some fucking love stories and some drama going on here, man. And let's just keep riffing off of Batman fucking storylines. But anyway, what about you, Link? I know this is not your first time watching The Raid, but what do you think about it overall?
I saw this movie short. I think it came out in the States around like early 2012, or at least that's when I saw it. It was like January 2012 when I seen this. And I've loved it ever since. Like you get like it was a game changer. I had never seen anything like it, like the brutality, but like there's nothing cut away. You know, when people are getting dropped on your neck, they're like, how the fuck are they doing that? You know. I think I feel you guys don't like the music. It is a little cheesy, but I think it worked at the time, especially with it being like Mike Shinoda.
I was ready for Mike Shinoda to fucking show up and start being like, focus the game. It's the fucking raid. Everybody knows we're fucking insane or some shit like that.
But you know, it kind of fit with like that video game aesthetic the movie kind of had, where it's like it's going to like the next boss or some shit like that, you know, new level type of shit.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have all. I agree with everything you said. Like this movie, just beautiful choreography. I think it was like an era thing, but you know the dullness doesn't really, the drabness of it doesn't bother me so much. I don't think it, you know, it's not like a big nitpick, only because I feel like it kind of you know, enforces how brutal everything is. It, you know, I have seen, what's the word I'm looking for, like brutal movies with pretty shots and shit like that, but I think they were going for just like a really gritty, fist grinding, you know, experience, and I think they achieved that. Even you know, there's actually I feel like there's like some horror elements to it as well in the hallway scene, or where they're like hiding in the closet. You know, it's tense. It's very,
Dude, that scene
you know,
where they're in that fucking wall and the dude's like
yeah.
throwing the fucking knife or sword or whatever through the fucking wall, and it's like it gets the one dude in the cheek. Oh my god, dude,
Yes,
that was super
I
tense.
love this.
Super tense.
Yeah. And then it's the detail. I love how like when he pulls it out, he like puts his glove on it to get the blood off of it, you know? So there's like,
yeah, because I was thinking that when I was watching, I was like, dude, what are you gonna do when you pull this fucking knife out and there's blood on it? Dude, that was perfect, man. Now, I'm gonna tell you this, man. If it was me in that wall and a knife hits me in the cheek, I'm going, ah!
Yeah, immediately.
Game over.
I might faint.
I got bit. Run!
But you know, yeah, I'm right there with Brooks. I can see why people. I understand this, why 2 is better in certain aspects, but I think this movie is so, it gets straight to the point. You know, it's like where we kind of said where there really is no there are no characters, or there really is no plot. I kind of fast forward 2. They try to expand upon that, but I feel like it's kind of a waste of time, in a sense. But I think the first one's just like the perfect experience. You know, it's, if you want an action movie, you just want to see some people get their ass beat in like cool ways, like interesting, entertaining ways. This is the movie. You know, it doesn't waste time. Like Brooke said, it's an hour 45, hour 40. It doesn't feel like it. It's an in and out experience. And it's just fun, you know. It's a great action movie, man.
Hell yeah, definitely worth kicking off Actionfest here on PCP movie night. So Two Gun Pedro, you had a good pick, at least with the first raid. So now let's do our final thoughts and rate the film. So you out there in the chat, out of 5 possible you digs, what do you give The Raid? Gelani, kick us off here on the panel.
Right now, I love this movie. I still love it. It's one of those, just the fight choreography is just insane. I've never seen people be this violent. And the old boy scene is correct. I forgot. Yeah, the old boy is more so the hallway scenes. Old boy has this one continuous shot of a man fighting like 9 people, and it's awkward and it's clumsy.
I've
And
never
it's
seen Old
violent.
Boy, man. We have to add
Old
that
Boy.
one time.
Mm, yeah, I've never seen that one either.
That scene is like more operatic, theatrical. I feel like where it's like a performance. Where this one, like the camera, you're with the camera's static. It's kind of like it's like a
Yeah,
Mario
it's
video game
watching
in
the
Old Boy.
fight.
Yeah,
So,
but in this one, like Robbie was saying earlier, the camera is very in the action. It's moving in interesting ways, even
It's
with the
with it.
hallway fight. You know,
Right.
I could see the influence. I could definitely see the
Yeah.
influence.
The
It
camera
really is
never
it's a little bit
moves.
of both, to be
The
honest.
camera never moves,
Yeah.
and it never cuts to hide anything. It
Right,
only
exactly.
moves in to accentuate the action
like
and the movement
Right.
of the action, which I really, really like. Because we've seen tons of these films. They still make them all day long, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like they just cut or move the camera to hide something from
See,
you.
Iron Fist could have been
Marvel.
better had they had a guy that know how to
Well,
do
they should have
fighting.
cast this fucking dude who played fucking Ramu or what Rama or whatever the hell. Yeah.
Hell yeah. So, I mean, it's still a it's a great popcorn flick. I'll give it a 4 or 5. I think 4 or 5 is genuine. It's not there to me. It's good. It influences a lot of shit, but it's not there. But it's still good.
All right.
So
Hell yeah. A
I'll give it
4.5? That's pretty good, Gelani.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Basically, yeah.
It would be a
Hell yeah.
4.69 if it had some more titties in it.
It has some tits in it.
Yeah.
It had some titillation.
Yeah. Speaking of titillation, Brooks, what about you? Final thoughts, and what do you rate The Raid?
Yeah, I give this one a 4.5 too. Like, you know, it is enjoyable. It's a good action movie, but like, you know, comparatively speaking, I wouldn't say it was in like my top 5 or anything. Like, you know, I did like it a lot. It is one that I would recommend, like somebody who was like into action movies. Like, I'd be like, yeah, you need to see this one. But yeah, I think it's like if they'd have made the characters a little more compelling in this movie, I would have been more invested. But you know, they keep you in with the action more so than the story in this one, I feel like. So yeah, you know, you kind of got to take that as it will. So yeah, not a perfect action movie, but like certainly a very good one. And I can see how it's become so influential, you know, having seen it now. And you know, I can see its shadow in other movies that I've seen. So yeah, it's like now I know the lore, I guess, behind the modern action movie. The link in my knowledge has been filled in.
If only Vin Diesel would have watched this movie.
Oh,
Like, or maybe he did, and he goes, "We're gonna do it better because we're gonna do it with cars."
This car has to drive its way out of an apartment building.
They do the shit where they have to escape through a car through those fucking buildings in Dubai or whatever the fuck, dude. Like, I still stand by those action sequences in Fast and Furious. All right, 2 ratings so far, 4.5 from both. What about you, Steph? What are you thinking?
I'm going to give this one a 5. Just it's anytime, you know, it's been over, it's like 12 years. Yeah. Shit. But it's, you know, every time I watch this, it's never boring.
It's been 14 years since this movie came out. Holy shit, we're old.
Jesus Christ. I love I don't know, this one just it's like a nostalgia thing for me almost as well. But the pacing, I feel like it gets straight to the point. And it's like we've seen the shadow it's left in the last 14 years. So I'm going to give this one a 5.
Hell yeah. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to give it the lowest score out of everybody. I'm going to give it a 4. I'm going to give it a 4. I watched it, and I'll be honest with you. If I watched this movie in 2011, I might have given it a perfect score. Been like, this is the best action movie of all time. But now I've seen its influence worm its way into Hollywood, right? I've seen this before, so it was a little bit more underwhelming than it possibly could have been if I would have watched it back then. But I don't discount this movie or its influence, and I appreciate it for that and have added that factor into my score. But it's the music, it's the theme, and it's the story that holds it back for me. There's not a lot of story here. Not that I mind that. I don't mind that. It's a very
simple story.
I know, but at times, though, they really do stop and try to make you
Gotta hit
feel
emotional.
these characters,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And it's like, bruh, just keep fucking going. In fact, honestly, 5 minutes shade out of this movie, and it might be goddamn near perfect. So I'm just gonna give it a 4. I think it's a solid
That's
movie.
strong.
4 from me, 5 from Link, 4.5 from these two asshats, for a PCP average of 4.5, which means these asshats were right. So there you go, man. That's nice. That's dope. Anyway, we like the film. It's really good. Y'all should check it out if you haven't watched it already. Thank you, Two Gun. He says, that's fair, but still a good movie. Still a good score. I agree. And yeah, the music knocked it down a notch, man. I don't want Mike Shinoda fucking acting like he's a movie composer, a film composer, because, bruh, let me tell you something. I like Linkin Park, but you're not a film composer, okay? There needs to be a little bit more nuance there. All right. Let's move on to the Raid Part 2, which is part of this Raid collection that Two Guns sent me. And initially, we were just going to do the first movie. And then everybody on a Rockin' Robbie Live was like, you got to do 1 and 2. And I was like, you know what? There's only 2 movies in this franchise. Might as well. Now, we did get word a few years ago that they are doing an American remake of The Raid.
No.
Yeah. Oh,
No.
here's the other thing. I need to say this, and this might have actually affected my rating of the film. I watched the first Raid movie dubbed. It is literally one of the worst dubs I've ever fucking watched. Like, and y'all know me. I love my kung fu movies. I love Hong Kong cinema. I love my Italian horror and jolly. I love Italian dubs. I'm familiar with bad dubbing. Bob, I'm familiar with bad dubbing. This was atrocious as far as the English dub. So then I sit down on Saturday night to watch The Raid 2. I'm watching it with my girl who did not watch the first one with me. And I was like, you know, while I hear it's not really super connected to the first one. In fact, Two Gun Pedro even said to me, which confused me in this movie, he said, you'll see some of the same actors, but they're not playing the same characters. But as I'm watching this movie, I'm like, this is totally the same main character from the first fucking movie, right? Like,
Yes.
am I wrong in that? It's the same guy.
Same character.
He survives, but in the Raid 2, now he has to go into prison and go undercover into the Indonesian gang scene, right? That's what's going on here. So I'm watching it with my girl, and I tell her, you don't need to know anything. And honestly, you don't. You don't have to have watched the first Raid to be able to watch the Raid 2.
Nope.
And then at a certain moment, maybe I had to pee, maybe we had to go grab a drink or something, but I pause the movie and I go, why is this movie 2.5 hours long? I didn't realize this movie was 2.5 hours long. Why is this movie so fucking long? What the fuck, right? So we're watching it, and I'm watching the movie, and I'm like, man, knowing how long this movie is, it's not working for me right now. And then I go, you know what, though? Fuck. I said, do you mind watching this movie in the original language with subtitles? And she goes, we're already watching it with subtitles, because I always watch movies with subtitles so I can pick up on names and places in particular. And I was like, yeah, let's fucking do it. I moved it over within 20 minutes of the movie into subtitles, into the original, I guess, Indonesian language or whatever the hell they speak there. I don't know what they speak in Indonesia. Is it Indonesian? Does anybody know? What is it?
I think it's Thai.
Thai? Okay, that makes sense, right?
But I don't know.
So anyway, as soon as I switched it, I was like, I should have watched all of these movies in the original language with subtitles. Like, because the dub on both of these movies is atrocious. It's really bad. And I'm familiar with bad dubbing, okay? And I'm very forgiving of bad dubbing until we get to the Raid. But the Raid 2, overall, by the end of it, I said, this is what I said to myself, to my girl, and what I want to say now. I like the Raid 2 better than the first one. I like it better than the first one, because one of my problems with the first one was
it's dark.
The drab, dark cinematography. That is cleaned up here, probably because of budgetary reasons, right? They're probably using better cameras, They're probably using better film stock. The movie looks better, is what I'm saying. Like, it looks better. It's more clear. It's more colorful. It's more vibrant. But at the same time, still has that drab criminal underworld kind of vibe to it, right? Secondly, the music is better. The music is fucking badass in this movie. The music in the Raid 2 kills the Raid 1's score. Mike Shinoda, by the way, Mike Shinoda is like part of the special features of the first Raid fucking movie. Did they really think that was their big get? We got Mike Shinoda from Linkin Park. Like, we all, Chester was our favorite, okay? R.I.P., but we all love Chester even more. However, I will say this. The Raid 2 excels as far as story and character development. As far as cinematography, it excels. I would say that the action sequences fucking excel as well. The action sequences are way more intense to me in the Raid 2. The other thing is the characters. Like, Mad Dog's pretty fucking cool. But what about Chick with the fucking hammers? Right? My favorite character in the whole fucking movie,
Hammer
man.
girl.
What about baseball bat dude with the ball? Give me the ball back. Like, that's just badass. What about dude with those curved blades who Rama has to go up against at the end, kills him with his own fucking weapons? Bruh, best action sequence in all of both of these films. I fucking loved it. I thought it was great. The only problem with this movie to me is that it is too goddamn long. It is way too fucking long because the first Raid takes time at times to stop the action, to try to develop something, but it knows it doesn't have anything to develop. So it does that and then gets right back to the action very quickly. This movie, though, is like, we're the goddamn Return of the King of the Raid right here. And we're going to like stop the movie for 20 fucking minutes and just like build some shit. Right. And I appreciate the story development. I appreciate the character work. But at the same time, I'm like, let's get back fucking to it. So as much as I think this movie's better than the first, I almost say it's on par with the first just because this movie's too fucking long. That's its biggest problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're equal because like I wanted more out of the first Raid and I wanted less out of the second Raid, if that makes sense. But I think the action's better. I think the cinematography's better. I think the characters are better. I think the themes are better. I love following this dude in this undercover journey. It is filled with so much tension from the prison stuff to when he's like actually out there doing it. It gives me shades of Infernal Affairs, which was remade as The Departed, right? It gives me shades of that. I really fucking like this movie. I think it's really solid. I liked it a lot. What about you, Gelani? What do you think about the Raid 2?
I fucking love this movie. This movie is the shit. Tell all your friends that Raid 2 is one of the greatest action movies ever filmed. Ever fucking filmed. Bruh, this shit's so hard. I have no complaints. It's 2.5 hours. I was watching all of them. All the minutes. It was beautiful. They had car chases. They have explosions.
Yo,
locations. Bruh. Mad Dog.
Speaking of the car scene.
Fight. Yeah.
You just reminded me, and I wanted. Do you guys? Because that came out. You think that might like Deadpool might have been inspired by that with that whole?
Well, Deadpool has. Which Deadpool are we talking about? 1, 2, or 3?
one in the highway. The highway.
Okay, yeah, I think so too, man. Yeah, I'm digging there because I'm also thinking about the minivan scene in Deadpool 3. Deadpool which is like fucking amazing. But dude, that fight scene in the fucking car,
everything,
fucking shit, dude.
The fucking kitchen fight.
That poor dude that has to drive this whole time. That's a 10-minute fucking sequence.
Yes, this shit is awesome, man. Every bit of the fight scenes, all the story building up to it. This is the funny part. This is the best part about this movie. The villain, the guy walking on crutches and shit like that, he looks like one of my cousins. Like spot on my cousin as a villain in an Indonesian movie. Like we found his Indonesian like twin. It is insane because every time I look at him, I'm like, oh, that's Marcus. Oh, that's Marcus.
You know the Crime Lord's son? Like,
yeah, the dude with the sunglasses. and the cane. That guy, I was like, oh my God. Except for the cane, he looks like a spitting image of my cousin. And I'm like, every time I see this movie, I'm like, yeah, that's him just running around doing his thing, being evil. It's so cool. I don't know. He's so uncanny. I love this movie. I love it so much. You have to watch Raid Redemption first to get a taste of what you're going to get for this movie. The fights in here are so crisp. It's some of the best stuff that I've ever seen. Like, period. The nightclub scene, the hallway scene with the hammer girl and the baseball guy. That shit.
Dude, that shit's so badass, man. Oh my God.
The kill they got killed by their own weapons. He killed all of them with their own weapons, even the assassin.
I was watching this movie and I was like, if this was a goddamn fighting video game, Brooks would be playing that hammered chick every fucking time. It would be cheesing the shit out of us.
Yep.
Right? That is so badass.
Hell yeah, man. I mean, it's so good. The music is awesome in this. The cinematography is great in this. Hell, the costumes are awesome in this. The fight in the mud, bruh. The fight in the mud is one of the best fight scenes I've ever seen. You can keep going throughout this movie and just pick a scene and be like, that's the greatest fight scene I've ever seen.
The scene in the fucking, where they take the dude into the bathroom, into the stall, and everybody's like funneling into
and the shot is from above when they start to finally dog.
Oh, that the beginning or the stall scene, I love. There's so many great, like Billy was saying, that in particular, that stall scene, like the way the camera was zooming in and out, like that close confined space so fluidly, bro. Wow, masterful,
so beautiful, and it's like, why can't we have action movies like that? Like, why can't we just make shit like that here on a regular basis? We could just do that. And it's, you don't even have to have all the violence in it. And it's very gory. It is awesomely gory. It is some of the most visceral, like, horror movie levels of gore that you would put in action.
Not only in gore, but in pacing. There are moments in this film where I look over and I'm like, this is a horror film. This is Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees right now. Right? Like the baseball bat dude, the hammer woman, like, bro, like, and the dude with the curved blades. Oh my God, I'm just like, he's literally, they're showing us Jason Voorhees waiting and then like fucking attacking. This is what In a Violent Nature wanted to be, bro.
Yes.
And really
it is. Yeah.
Failed miserably.
Yeah. So, I'm thoroughly impressed with this film. I don't give a crap. I love this movie. This movie, people were like, you got to watch Raid 2. And I was like, well, what about Raid 1? What do I need to? I mean, I don't mind, but I like to get to the cut of the chest. So I was just like, screw it. I'll just watch the second one. I watched the second one first, and I didn't really know about the first one until I saw the second one. And then the second one just blew my mind, and I was like, well, shit, I should have watched the first one. Then I watched the first one. I'm like, okay, it's necessary for certain stuff, but not really. Like, I could watch Raid 2 and live my life and be happy and satisfied. So it to me, bruh, you cannot. This is easily in my top 5, like action movies of all time. Like next to Lethal Weapon, Die Hard,
Long Kiss Goodnight.
Fuck yeah. These movies, it's up there. Shogun.
You're saying this might be your favorite action movie not written by Shane Black, is what you're saying.
Yes, pretty much. Pretty much. I don't want to see Predators. It scares me. or whatever that was.
Oh, don't worry. The Predator franchise review is coming soon, man. You just wait and see.
Jesus Christ.
I feel like by next year we got to do it. So
fair enough.
I think there'll be another Predator movie by that time too, right? Isn't there a new one coming out this year?
So. A cartoon or something.
Yeah, they just released a cartoon.
Yeah.
Maybe we should add a cartoon to it. We've never done that. Well, we did that with TMNT, actually.
TMNT.
Yeah, we did the cartoon. That's part of it. Brooks, what about you, man? What do you think about the Raid 2 overall?
It's all right. Like I kind of appreciate what they did. Is like, it's kind of like to compare it to another video game, but like how the first 2 Resident Evil games were, where the first one is like, just in the mansion, it's a very confined space. it's more tense. When this one is like the second game where it's more, out in the city and you're going into different buildings and stuff. And so it like feels like it expands. But like I feel it is too long. Like I feel like it could have been like compressed a little bit. But it does take the time to like, it gives you more on the characters. I think the characters in this movie are much better than the ones in the first movie.
Oh yeah.
Like the henchmen in particular. Like I love
But it's like it's almost like so my biggest thing, Brooks, about the first Raid movie was I wanted more character development and work there with the story. But if that means an extra hour, maybe not. You know what I'm saying?
Like you don't have to give us too much, I love the baseball guy because he reminded me of a character from the fighting game Rival Schools. There's like a character in that game who uses baseball. He's like a baseball player. Yeah, so
that guy, by the way, could have been a Hall of Famer fucking Japanese baseball player if he wanted to.
Yeah,
let me tell you something.
Motherfuckers with baseballs.
He's calling his shots. He's so fucking like, bruh, get the fuck out of here, bruh. Like you'd be a Hall of Famer baseball player. You'd be making millions of dollars in the States right now.
Yeah. Like I love, of course I love the hammer girl. I love the scene where she's like, she walks in, and she just like pulls out her weapons, and then like everybody leaves, and it's just like, the guys are gonna fight her. It's like I almost expect, like I was kind of hoping she'd do like a Hammer Brothers, start tossing hammers. Yeah, like I think the villains are a little more interesting in this one too. Like the villains in the first one are very like you kind of just have to fill in the blanks on them. They're just like drug lord guys that are running this hotel. But like I like the fact that you got the old gangster who's trying to like set up. He's kind of like a Michael Corleone. He's trying to get out of the life. He's trying to go legit, in a sense, or like kind of leave his son something legit. But his son is like doesn't want that. And the son, like I said, he kind of looks like Bruce Campbell to me. Like he's got the hair, he's got that kind of like slim, angular face of like a young Bruce Campbell. Like the entire movie, I kept seeing him as Bruce Campbell. But yeah, it's like I thought it was a pretty good story too. Like it's like kind of like a cross between like the kind of action movie of the first one with like a gangster drama almost a little bit. Which it kind of works against it too because it is responsible for it slowing down a lot. I think is the telling of the gangster drama story. Not that it's a bad story, but it does like it kind of jams up the works a little bit, I think. But the action scenes are still like great. Like the action's awesome. Like the fight scenes are super fun. Like I love the mini bosses. It still has that video game feel that the first one has, but just in like kind of like an expanded way. It's like you're not in Super Mario Brothers 1 now. You're in like Super Mario Brothers 2. And like the whole thing is like Rayma's dream. He wakes up at the end with his nightcap on. That's how I would have ended it. But they went a different way with it. And I respect that.
Okay. I feel like it's more like Super Mario Brothers 1 into 3, where you're like you're really expanding on this world.
Yeah.
Really elevating things. But man, this game's longer. This game's way longer. But it's good for gameplay. But when you're watching a fucking mindless action movie, and let's be honest, these are mindless action movies. They're not mindless as far as like the technical bits, right? These movies are very smart as far as that goes. As far as story, they're not the smartest films, in my opinion, right? They're okay, but they do exactly what they are setting out to do. And that's why I think they're so great. What about you, Link?
That's one thing I like about them is that these movies don't feel like they're putting on airs. Like they know they're just an action movie, and they give you the action.
Hell yeah, they're not trying to be more than what they are.
What about you, Steph? Elevated action.
What do you think about Raid 2?
I like that term. I love it like the first one. Well, I do think that. Where I think like the first one could get away where it does the weak story bits and it gets cut straight to the action. It does have more character in the second one. There's some more story there, but there is a slight pacing issue where you get an action scene and then you're taken into story. It's more I think they follow the same blueprint, both movies, but it's more noticeable in the second one where it's like, okay, we're gonna get an action scene, then we're gonna get some drama. We're gonna get an action scene, then we're gonna get some drama. Whereas in the first one, it's like 5 minutes of some bullshit drama and they get back to the action. this one we really were lingering with like the emotional scenes. There is something there, you know, but it's that's my only hindrance of this film. But everything else you guys have said, like the camera work, the vibrancy of the colors in this film, the action scenes, just it levels up till the very end. One of my, it's even like the brief action scenes, like when he hops in the cab and he gets jumped, they break all the windows and shit, and he like has to hit the steering wheel, and he has that brief little like fight scene in the shop where he's like stabbing everybody. It's quick but beautiful. But there's like this movie keeps up the level of brutality established by the first one and surpasses it in a great way. So I really, that my only complaints are is like it's not even a major complaint with like the pacing, you know, but I do feel like it could have been trimmed down a little bit, maybe like 2-hour movie, you know, maybe 2 hour 10, you know. But I think it's still an amazing movie. Like I think it's an amazing franchise. You know, you can't go wrong watching either one. I loved it.
Hell yeah. All right. Time for final thoughts and the rating of the Raid 2, including you out there in the chat. So what do you think about the Raid 2? Let us know right now. Gelani, kick us off.
Whew. I love the Raid 2. I don't know if I told you that. So it's still a 5 for me. Yes, it is too long. Yes. Yeah, I will give you that. It is lingering in the drama department. Get back to the fighting, but I love the build up to the fight. I don't know why. I just think the guy with the 2 blades, like, he deserved all them comeuppance. He deserved all of it. And I wanted to know why he did it. And it was because he killed Mad Dog. And it kind of sucks. It wasn't Mad Dog this time. He was a different character. But that whole, like, he just fought like a room full of people, and this asshole's been standing by the car waiting to come kill him. It's so gangster and wrong and evil. I'm like, bro, you cheated. You cheated. You need to get your ass whooped. Then he got his ass whooped. And I was just like, not only get his ass whooped, he got fucking sliced and diced and murdered with his own weapon. It's so clean. I love that payoff. I love this story. It's very minimal, but I don't give a damn. It's so much just popcorn chewing fun. It's just so clean. And I'm like, clean in a gritty way. It just makes a lot of sense. I'll give it 5. It's a 5. It's better than the Raid Redemption just because of its vibrant color, just because of the fight scenes are amped up to 11. It makes a lot more sense for this one to exist more so than the Raid if you're gonna do that. I can watch them both. Trust me, I love them both. But 2 just has that edge to me. 2 just be like, I'll be like, God dang, I need to watch this again. It's kind of like the first time I watched Mallrats. I love Mallrats so much I watched it the second time that night. It's just one of those things where I gotta watch it again. I did Inferno. So I watched the Raid 2 twice. And I mean, since we did this, like I watched it again today, and I was like, oh yeah, I gotta see it again. Oh, them car chases. Oh my God. The other dude that he just randomly saves and he's an undercover agent. I love his whole set. I love the shot though when he's dying. Whatever. Yeah.
He walks over
to
the seat.
He's dying. And he's like he goes into the blown out city portion. I don't know what it was, like a bomb went off in there. But he goes and he sits down on the side of the road. And he's like, I'm just done. I'm done. I'm not driving anymore. I'm not doing anything. You know, go take care of this dog. Go take care of this. He goes and he sits down. And as the car drives, when he pulls off, Rama pulls off, you see the shot. It's just far away. And he just slumps over and dies. And I'm like, oh! I didn't like you or know you. Your death is so hurt me. So their drama in this. It is a little long. It does a little thing, but it's still telling that story. So I'm okay with it. I'm going to give this a perfect score of 5.
All right, a perfect score from Gelani. What about you, Brooks?
Yeah, like, you know, I'd probably give this one a 4. Like, you know, it's a little, it's not quite as good as the first one for me, but just I think just because of how it's so much longer, I feel like it should have been like feel like they could have compressed it a little bit more. But it still does deliver, with everything you had in the first movie, and it gives you a little bit more as far as story wise. So I'd recommend this one too, to anybody who's an action guy who hasn't seen these movies. I would say there's only two of them, so and they're both really good. So if you're gonna watch the first one, you should watch this one too. So you get the whole experience, I think. But also they could be taken separately. You could watch the first one and not watch this one. You could watch this one and not watch the first one, and it wouldn't be you'll be missing too much. But I think I would recommend watching them both though, because they're both they both got some really good action, and and the second one has got a little more of a story too. So I could see somebody liking the second one more than the first, but just for me, I preferred the first one's more fast paced, action focused kind of style, rather than the second one's more kind of story driven style.
Oh yeah. What about you, Link? What are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm they're equal to me. I'll give this one a 5 as well. All my complaints are very many. Like I said, I could see why someone loves 2, and I can see why. And I think Brooks made a good point. It's best to watch these movies together, but you can watch 1 and be fine and not see 2, and you can watch 2 and be fine and not see 1. But if you watch them, you're gonna get a better experience if you see both of them. But they're both standout action movies. You're not going to waste your time seeing either one of these. So I'll give this one 5 as well.
All right. The only connection between the movies is basically the brother getting killed, and it never comes up in the second movie at all after he dies. They might as well not even had him in.
The other guy, the guy that put him in the undercover work, the chief or whatever. Yeah. He mentions it. That's why Rama goes and does this. He's he does this because his brother was killed.
Because
he wanted to find out who.
He never mentions it again throughout the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
He's just
he's more
he just set up.
Because at that point he's fuck my brother, fuck all this shit. Why the fuck am I here? Why am I doing what I'm doing?
Y'all gonna get me killed.
Putting the guy with the cane, sadly too. He has to settle for killing the Bruce Campbell crime lord kid. Sad.
So 2 perfect scores so far and a 4.5. So for me, I'll give the Raid 2 a 4. I'll give it the exact same score I gave the first one. Now, here's the thing. I would say that I like part 2 better than part 1. But what I loved about part 1 and what I didn't like about part 1 brings it down to here. What I love about part 2 is here, but what I don't like about it is here. And what I mostly don't like about it is how fucking long it takes. It takes a long time. And I'm not just, y'all, I'm not the kind of guy, when I say a movie is too long, it doesn't mean that I think 80 minutes to 90 minutes needs to be, or 80 minutes to 100 minutes needs to be where a movie is. That's not what I'm saying. There's plenty of long movies that I love and appreciate. But everything I didn't like about the first Raid happens here in Raid 2. But the only difference is that Raid 2 takes way too fucking long to do it. Right? I feel like if the first Raid had 10 more minutes, maybe, of 10 more minutes of character work, maybe 5, maybe just something like 4 to 5 more minutes of character work could have gone a long way there. But bro, you're overcorrecting when you give us an hour of character work. And that's what happens. I think if you actually take all the action sequences and put them all together, you have 2 movies of the same length, right? So I love that this movie did more with the story, did more with the character development, but at the same time, I hate how it made this movie 2.5 hours long. This movie is longer than Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
And Terrifier 2 is an hour longer than it needs to be, right? And obviously, the Raid franchise is a whole different beast than the Terrifier franchise, but it's the length that holds me back from this one, from giving it a perfect score. But at the same time, I got to give it the same score as the first one, man, because I think it improves on the first one aside from the length or the runtime. You know, honestly, maybe it should be like a 4.25, but we don't do that here. So I'm going to go with a 4. So a 4 for me, 4 part 1 and 4 part 2. So from me, a 4, 4.5 from Brooks, and perfect scores from Gelani and Link, which means 4, 5, 5, 4.5. PCP average of 4.468. Because there's still no titties in this
There's no
movie.
titties. Not
Yeah.
one.
So a 4.868 is pretty good, right? That's pretty good. It's a good movie. I think what we're saying is that both of these movies are good, right? Would you say so?
Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoy them thoroughly. Yes.
You can't go
Hell
wrong.
Yeah. Watch them.
Oh, yeah.
Please watch them. If you haven't watched them, why the hell are you here? You should be going to watch them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Two Gun Pedro agrees with Gelani at 5, you digs. Brooks, that's how I felt about these movies at first, but the Raid 2 has now surpassed the first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see, like, you know, down the line, if I like rewatching them, I'd me ended up like switching my opinion on that. Like, you know, maybe thinking like the second one was better on a rewatch. But like as of this watch, I still feel like I think I like the first one a little better.
Hell yeah, I really, really like it. So, Two Gun Pedro, thank you so much for sending me the Raid collection on Blu-ray. I've watched them now for the first time. We've covered them, and I will watch them again. These are cool movies to watch with your homies. All right. Thus concludes our review of the Raid and the Raid 2, which is our first contribution to Actionfest 2025. But look at that lineup, y'all. A really, really great lineup. We're already 2 movies in deep to these 8 shows, talking about where we're 3 movies in, actually, if you think about it. But next week here on PCP Movie Night, we're talking about Blade 2. We had a lot of fun talking about the first Blade movie last year. This year, we're talking about Blade 2. Now, do be aware, this is not on Monday night, because next Monday night, I will be at Monday Night Raw. That's right, my first Monday Night Raw. So this is a special Sunday night show. Blade 2. In fact, I believe that everybody that's here right now is supposed to be on that show. So everybody remember, Sunday night, 7 p.m. Central Time, when you would usually tune in to watch Rockin' Robbie live, we're going to be talking about Blade 2. But tomorrow night, Action Fest continues over at One Collection Down with Wanted, another comic book adaptation. So, very interested to hear the homies' thoughts on Wanted, because it's a movie that I like, but it ain't the comic. So, that's going to be pretty freaking interesting. Gelani, what about you, man? What you got coming up, man?
Yeah, man, exciting talk for Rave, by the way. Two Gun, you sir are an auteur. You are my homeboy now. Well, you were my homeboy before. What am I talking about? Thank you for that. Yeah, dude, it was awesome. Yeah, me and Brooks do this thing. It's called Go Figure Reviews, and we review toys and we talk about stuff and toys, and you know, we do show and tell and stuff. That's what we do.
That show's too woke for me, man.
It's woke, man. Super woke. You got to fire the black guy. So, we did Maximum Spider-Man. I'm super excited for that one. I've got a lot. I've got a short that's just going to be his poses, because you can make him almost in any pose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite biased. It's expensive as fuck for no reason. But watch that video. We talk about it. And on the other side, I also did a video with our buddy Huggy from Huggy Bear's Toy Shop, as aka Nate. We did the Cobra Rattler HasLab. This bad boy is doing well for our channel, because it did so well. We are now at 700 subscribers. So, guys, thank you for watching and liking and, you know, complaining and wanting to fire me. I really appreciate wanting to get fired. So check us out, me and Brooks, sometimes Nate, sometimes others. And we talk about toys, and we're going to call it Go Figure Reviews. So, you know, get out there, go figure.
Hell yeah. Brooks, thank you so much for being here, man. Final thoughts?
Well, nothing. Just like I was glad to finally see these movies, because, you know, I had heard about them, So like it, you know, I love it when a movie night like throws an opportunity to watch a movie that, you know, I've considered watching but have been putting off for a while. And like these two movies were in that vein. So it's nice to, you know, finally have them watched and, you know, see what all the fuss is about.
Hell yeah.
They're pretty good.
Link, always a pleasure to have you on the channel, man. I love you so much. What do you final thoughts? I'm sure you got some stuff coming up.
Oh yeah. This Thursday, over at Blood Splatter Chatter at 9 p.m. Eastern, we're doing this movie called The Void. I haven't checked it out yet, but the trailer looks pretty gnarly. Yeah, I haven't heard about it before, but it looks interesting. I'm very excited.
I remember
Final
covering that
thoughts?
movie on DHS, and me and Verna were very split. Like I didn't like it, but he loved it. So I'm interested to see what y'all think about it.
I mean, I'm definitely more curious now. This should be interesting. But no, yeah, I'm always glad to come over here and talk movies with you fellas. It's always a great time. Yeah, and definitely go check out both these movies. Do yourself a service.
Hell yeah, y'all. All right, we are in the year of PCPX. The 10th anniversary was actually like a week ago. So this is the first PCP movie night we've done since we actually have hit beyond 10 years here on YouTube. So station, everybody. Congratulate yourself. Pat yourself on the back. We've been on YouTube longer than a lot of people who've tried to do YouTube. So there you go. That's really cool, right? But we got some exciting stuff coming up, including next week, Blade 2 here for Actionfest on PCP Movie Night. That's going to be on Sunday night at 7 p.m. Central Time. Tomorrow night over at One Collection Down. Check it out as they talk about Wanted, because we are just starting Actionfest 2025.
It has begun.
And if you think Actionfest is a dope-ass lineup, wait until we reveal the lineup of HorrorFest 2025. Because the best part of Actionfest is that it's the preamble to HorrorFest. And I mean, even more excited for that. But we got some great movies to talk about during Actionfest here, including Blade 2 next week, Hard Target the week after that, and the Terminator franchise to wrap it all up. Very excited. We love you, Gelani, Brooks, Steph. You were three of my favorite people. I love you so much. My other favorite people are in the chat right now. Also, Carl Sagan. I like Carl Sagan a lot. So he's one of my favorite people. Anyway, for my final thoughts, I'm just going to go. I don't know what to do because this movie doesn't have quotes. It has action. And that's what we're talking about. Action Fest. Love you guys. Stay